Hey everyone, welcome to part three of God's faithfulness and provision of the Lord of the last 12 years. Um, and basically, where I left off in the last video was I had just got a job that I never thought I would get with this bump in pay but it included me moving to a state that was essentially two or three states away, to a place where I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a family or friend a safety net. Um, and once I got that job, they're like, "We're going to give you 3 weeks to move up here." Um, so again, just a refresher on the timeline. It's now April of 2015, and my first day would be May 4th of 2015. So, a really important thing as part of my transition that really helped me overcome a lot of fear and had to really force me to trust the Lord was when it came down to. Um, so, May 4th was a Monday. So that would make May. I made May 1st as my leaving South Florida for the last time at that time, to make my journey um, to North Carolina. Um, no, I'm sorry. It was actually May 2nd. So I actually left Saturday. Um, and it's going to be I believe, a 12 to 14 hour drive. Um, for those that need to know, uh, I'm sure Texas is bigger. I am sure. But when you're coming from the south of Florida and you need to get out of Florida, it's almost like going across Texas. Um, I think it took about 7.5 hours just to get out of Florida, um, just to get into Georgia, um, and because I was pretty close to Miami, so just to let you know how far south that was, um, and based on the traffic. So I set off to leave Florida Saturday, May 2nd, at like 4:30 in the morning, and it put me at like supposedly 6 o'clock p.m. in North Carolina, in Charlotte. And so when I say a lot, a lot of people were very concerned for me, not because of the new job, not because they didn't have any faith in my skills in IT and computer and whatever, but it was the car, my car. My car was a 97 Nissan Sentra with 200 plus thousand miles that has broken down I don't know how many times. Um, I've probably used AAA 5 or 6 times in the life of this car. People are well acquainted with my car. Leaked oil, has overheated, um, you know, just been, you know, not the greatest car. Not the greatest car, and it's the last of its years. It's been a great car, but they were like, "You're gonna do what type of drive? You're gonna do 14 hours with that car?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's all I got." Because I planned out my finances and this is the risk and the trust that I had to move forward, that I had to overcome. Nothing could go wrong with this trip because I planned out where I was going to stay. I was going to stay like in an extended stay motel or something that you paid, weekly to stay there. Because I wanted to check out the areas first before I committed to an apartment. Because I don't want to commit to an apartment and then be middle of a really bad area. I'm just be honest. Um, so I planned out the gas I would need for the car, um, the my living expenses, food expenses, and then planning's like, okay, this is like this week is going to be my last week paycheck of my previous job. Then this week there's going to be because at that time I would be getting paid every 2 weeks with this new job, but there's like, okay, this one week I get paid, you know, the last week of this job, and then the next week it's going to be just a 1 week's worth of work of pay for this week, and then the next week that's when I can start breathing a little bit easier because start having like the actual like real paychecks of like every 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, all right, I gotta. So I stretched everything as best I can to the best of my ability, and on my way up to North Carolina, this was like 4:30 in the morning. Left my brother's house. Um, I get up to, I think it was Jupiter, Florida, and for this that no, like there is a Jupiter, Florida. I'm not making it up. Um, I get to there or Port St. Lucie. It's about 2 or 3 hours. No, yeah, it's about 2 or 3 hours. I think it was just under 100 miles from where I left from my brother's house, and my car breaks down. Um, Not to make there's a lot of little details on that, but just to make that part of the story condensed is the I had to basically stop at a 24-hour gas station. My brother told me, hey, call me every 2 hours. I want to see where you're at. Make sure I'm okay. So I call him up and I say my car broke down. Basically, what essentially what it was that one of the spark plug wires um, completely fell apart. So it was basically misfiring. And when you have a misfire in a small four-cylinder engine, it makes a huge difference. It basically made the car sputter, and it becomes basically undrivable. Um, and I was at the gas station. I was talking to my brother, and my brother says, "Listen, we have AAA. We support you in whatever decision you make. Either you can try to figure out and fix the issue yourself, or if you want to get AAA and come back here, you're within the 100-mile AAA tow limit. And oh yeah, this is also our very last AAA tow for the year." I was at like mile 98. And I really felt that this was a test of, am I really going to pursue this new life? Now, what would have happened if I came back? It probably would have delayed my start date. They're probably either had to fix my car again, or they probably would have I would have had to borrow money to fly over to Charlotte. But what was really amazing And again, the provision of the Lord. When I was at the gas station kind of waiting for either a mechanic shop, then I knew that was um, like, so I kind of have to tell these details. So in my smartphone, that's always been accurate about what's around me, gas stations and restaurants and auto parts stores, and it's never let me down in like the years I've had smartphones. For some reason, and again, this is like probably like 6 o'clock in the morning, um, not summertime hours yet. Everything was still pretty dark, so I really couldn't see what was across the street and all this stuff. This is one of those gas stations that like it's pretty dark around it, so you can't really see what's around there until it's daylight. Um, and it said that there was no auto parts store near there. That they said like the nearest auto parts store was like 3 miles away. Um, and that I was thinking of like, okay, well, I can probably bring it to an auto parts store. And and I was thinking of like, okay, well, I could probably try to see maybe I can try to fix this myself, because it was really one of the first times where the Holy Spirit really spoke to me clearly and actually replayed like a movie reel in my head, saying, this issue in your car has happened before. And it replayed in my mind when I was heading to a friend's house, and my car did the same exact thing. And the fix was getting new spark plug wires, a coil pack, and some spark plugs. I think for that small of a car, older, I think it was like $50 all in for one, two, three, four, like six parts total. Um, and But again, I was at the time where my budget was tight as nothing could go wrong. Like, I'm eating ramen noodles for 2 weeks, whether I like it or not. Um, and So my brother's like, hey, if you want to try to see if you can fix it. Because the thing is, it was either have enough money to fix it, or I could have enough money to possibly have a mechanic look at it. I didn't have the money for both. So I really had this kind of internal struggle of, do I trust what just replayed in my mind? Do I trust this voice that I feel that is right and try to fix this myself? Because I did it myself the last time, and it wasn't a hard fix. And because of the way that my car has let me down in the past, my entire small little 4-cylinder Japanese car was filled to the brim with all my life. My clothes, my boxes, my possessions, and my tools. But I had my tools purposely at the edge of my trunk. So I knew that if something were to go wrong, all I had to do was open my trunk, and I don't have to, fidget with stuff. It's just all my tools are right there. And I had all the tools because I had to buy all the tools I had to do for most of the maintenance of of this car. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe I can get it towed to uh, the auto parts store, because I was going to say, okay, I'm going to do that because that's what it was. The smartphone told me that the auto parts store was about 3 miles away. And kind of like a scene out of Lion King where the sun starts literally rising behind the mechanic. I think it was like a firestone or something. Right next to it, suddenly came into light. I'm talking walking just like across the street. If directly across the street from the gas station was the mechanic shop, right next door, 30-second walk, was an auto parts store. that my smartphone decided not to tell me that it was there, and I did not need to use the AAA tow. Because when I told the AAA driver I need to go here, he's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a little far away." He's like, "Okay." So he drove me an eighth of a mile, if that, a 16th of a mile, 100 feet, that I could have literally just walked across the street, get the parts, and walked back and not even use a AAA. So now I'm at the point of like, okay, I've exhausted my way back home. I have no other choice. I have to fix this. So went to the auto parts store, got the spark plug wires, got the, I think it's called the ignition coil, and started disabling everything. And thankfully on this car, those parts are really accessible. I don't have to do a lot. I was thinking about maybe 20 minutes, and I'd be either on my way back on the road or stuck trying to figure out what to do next. As I'm lifting out the very last spark plug coil that goes on top of the spark plug, I lift it up and it completely disintegrates. And I was like, I think that's what it was. But when I'm there, I'm like, hey, I might as well change out the spark plugs and just that whole ignition system there. So I did that. Cost me about $48 and change, something like that. And I'm there. I reassemble everything. I close my hood. And I'm praying by putting my fingers on the key to start the car. And I'm like, Lord, please let this turn on. I turn it on. It starts up. Smooth as glass. The issue was fixed. And I was just like, okay, all right, get back on the road. So I'm white knuckling it the whole time because I'm thinking that, Lord, I just need this car to get me to my hotel, and then it could just catch on fire and blow up at the hotel. I just needed to get it to me there. Because where I had the hotel and where I worked at was about a mile away, and I was like, okay, I could walk. I really had to. I felt like I really needed to do this, so I called my brother, said, hey, fixed it, I'm on my way, and called him about every couple of hours, and really saw how the Lord provided the answer to the problem so I can keep going in my journey. Because this broke off so much hesitancy and fear off of my life. Not that I don't struggle with that every once in a while, but it was such an important part of this testimony. I had to speak on it. So I'm finally in Charlotte. So from 2015, so my contract, I think I erroneously said 18 months in my last video. It was actually only for like 9 or 10 months. And I think it was like only for 6 months. Yeah, for 6 months, because I said, well, if I do the math, if I live the same way I lived before with the previous pay, I can probably stretch out these 6 months worth of pay into a year and then try to figure out what to do next. Within 3 months of working, the contract completely changes, that it then becomes indefinite until further notice. So you can think of me and the other people that were in the same position that got hired from the same company to come up here. It's a big, big sigh of relief. So now I'm really starting to put more of my roots down. So okay, this is my new life. This is my new state, my new city. Um, this is where I'm at. Um, so I'm going to fast forward through some other things because I think those are testimonies for another time. But within 3 months, within 2 months, I moved into my very first apartment, my own. Within a month later, I meet online my future wife. So going into this provision of jobs and things, it's 2018. So almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years. It's January of 2018, and you got to think about that. I have now been supporting this online product for over 7.5 years, and I just hit a wall. I'm just miserable. God's been good. God's provided all these things, and I'm just like, God, get me out of this job. I need to do something different. And I remember that it was a time where I really came to the end of myself in 2018. And I remember bowing my head and praying aloud, saying, God, I'm asking you, Lord God, to help me and provide for another job, because I am miserable. Because during that time I've been hiding. It's like, oh, it's just, maybe I just need I'm not joking. Maybe it's just the color of the walls. Maybe I bought paint to say, maybe I just need to do something different and just color the walls something different. I need to buy these little trinkets to keep me busy. I need to find a hobby. I need to go out and do more stuff. Maybe people are saying, oh, you need to go exercise or this and that, blah, 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 blah. I was just plain out miserable in my job because I've been doing it for such a long time, and I just got burnt out. That was the truth. And so I'm praying. I said, Lord God, I need your help for something new, for a new job. And I'm not joking. It was at that time I'm literally lifted up into my head, opening my eyes, and I already had the Outlook application open. That's an email application, and the very top email said, "Hey Josh, we're thinking of if you would be a good candidate for this new position. It's in the same environment that I've been in, but it's more, think of it more like project management than it is troubleshooting." And I knew that was my answer. I've been learning over time that I need to stop overlooking obvious answers to prayer. And so again, I took that leap forward. I had to do a small little interview. I get the position. It's another small bump increase in pay. And I'm doing now a job that is new. I'm learning. It's another different learning curve. There's a challenge to it, and it's like the Lord answered my prayer. But the prayer, the way that these last 12 years has always been this: up, 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 up. But it's in those times in the middle that there's those challenges that sometimes you just have to wait on the Lord. And there's times where the Lord waits on you to come to the truth of yourself and truth of your situation, and stop hiding or stop making excuses for your position that you're in, the dire position that you're in. It's like, Lord, I am miserable. And God's like, I know. God, I really need this. I really need something new in my life. I need something. I need a breakthrough. I need this to happen. And the Lord provided that. And so from like February 2018 to I would say February of 2021, I had that new position. Just as a quick segue, thank you for hanging on there. There's going to be a part 4, because again, I don't want to make, I've been told not to make too long of videos, so I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes, and I know my testimonies have been long, but I really want to tell you the story of where I'm at now. So again, just to segue, basically, kind of like where the timeline check is February of 2021. So we're looking at just last year. Okay. So I'm going to see you in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and prepare that testimony. So I think I'm going to spread these testimonies to be kind of like each part to be a day apart, so they're kind of separate. So yeah, I'll see you on the next video, and hopefully I think the next one will be at the end, and I hope this has been encouraging to you in your journey, in your struggles, an encouragement to know that the Lord is faithful, and He's trustworthy. He is trustworthy to be trusted, that you can trust Him at His word. So I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.